Hi, I know there's been a bit of a break from my last video. I've actually been away in the USA. I've finally got everything back together now, apart from maybe just little pieces, which you always find when you start actually putting the thing back together. I'm trying to keep an original Z-ness about the machine as much as possible. As I said in the early video, it's based on a 1974 Z1A which I picked up from California. That's got an awful lot of Mark II parts on it. So we've got a rear wheel is Mark II. I've picked up some nice piggyback shockers. These are the gold anodizing that I had done, or zinc plating. I think it's turned out okay, so I'm going to go for a black and chrome look as much as possible with a little bit of gold in it, which I think will complement the green and yellow Z1 paint job. Mark II engine. I'm trying to keep the look as much original as possible, so this is the early seamless type headlamp brackets, which I had a little bit of problem getting on actually. They didn't fit exactly right, but that's gone on okay. Mark II forks. Z1 clocks, and of course the braced frame, stock engine but with the Mikuni smooth bores. It should pull quite nicely, I think. That should be okay. Be a little bit lighter than the original Mark II. I'm actually going to fit an original Z1 wiring harness on it because that's the simplest way to go. But I'll have to modify the wiring a little bit, which I will actually run through in a later video. Unfortunately it's going to be a disc rear brake, which is a bit of a shame, but I've got all the parts for another build, which I'm going to build a Z1B, which is going to be essentially stock, just slightly different than original, that's all. And that one's going to have the wire wheels with the drum rear brake. This bike, of course, because it was so modified in the first place from the original, I'm not really too concerned. It would have been very difficult to now impossible to put it back to original Z1A, and it would have been absolutely pointless anyway, because the chassis number is actually I suppose what we would call like a sabotage number. It's a US DMV number rather than a Z number anyway. So the idea is this bike's going to be built for myself, so I'm just playing with it. Not too modern, not going with like Suzuki GSX-R wheels or anything like that. Sort of all pretty much 70s stuff, but just a couple of little things, which will be the rear master cylinder, which is modern, and the rear shockers, which is probably kicking around in the 80s anyway. So let's see how it goes. Right, I've had enough for now. I've used a tail tidy on it, which is a PMC one. It's fully adjustable, so you can actually get the tail light and as tight in as or tucked as you like. I'm quite pleased with it. I think it looks nice. So I think now you can sort of get a rough idea of where my mind's been thinking with this one. I know a lot of you who are into originality won't really like it, but I'm building, like I said, I'm building this one for myself. It wasn't worth restoring as an original bike, that is. But I'm really pleased with the way it looks. I think it has a sort of a semi-modern look about it, but still keeps the original 70s feel. This is it from the other side. I fitted an NHK steering damper as well, which should go quite nicely with the frame bracing. I'm hoping this will steer reasonably well, but of course you just never know until you've actually ride the things. But if nothing else, it's going to look pretty. Right, I made some progress with it. I say that's your Mark II front end, but with a Z1 mudguard. I'm going with the high bars off the early Z1 as well. And just for a bit of a laugh, I've got the 1100 badges on. Probably because it is actually slightly closer to 1100cc than 900 anyway. So I'm now actually not too displeased with the coloured zinc plating. think it's starting to come together quite nicely. I've had a couple of little problems, nothing too much. Something I've got to resolve is these rear shockers are fatter than the original ones and actually pushing the chain guard over. It's rubbing very slightly on the inside. I'll have to investigate that and see if I can use the original chain guard. I'm hoping I can. I don't really want to use one of these awful metal ones if I can, and that's even if I can find one. So it's going together quite nicely. I'm going to get some braided hoses for the back. I think you can get a better idea now of where my mind's thinking with this thing. I just hope it runs and rides as well as it's starting to look. So hi, in this piece of the video I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with a wiring loom. I'm using a Z1 wiring loom. Obviously that doesn't marry up exactly to the Mark II engine, and the low mounted Mark II battery box that I'm using. I'm going to use the charging system. It's a Honda regulator rectifier instead of the original separate regulator rectifier, which means that I won't be using this arrangement that's on the early Zs. I'm simply going to wire straight into the harness. So I've got to make a harness from here to the charging on the engine, and also from the regulator rectifier. The other thing I'll be doing is wiring up the Dyna S ignition system, optical ignition system. Little other things are just making sure that all the lights work, and hopefully we'll be getting there. I'm fitting a black chrome Harris exhaust, which has not been seen for a long time. I managed to get them to do one in black chrome. I only waited a few months for it, so if anybody's going to be interested in one of those, they will be available. Okay, I'm going to make a start. Right, I've used one of these motorback batteries. I found they're very good. They certainly give more cranking power than the original ones. As you can see, I've got the Honda style or Super Dream regulator rectifier. I've made a block connector for it here and another block connector here for the wiring. I've not quite finished yet. I've made a loom from here to there, which is plugged in, which is the power into the regulator rectifier, and I've just got to sort the charging side out. All the electrics other than that is now finished and works perfectly. Surprise, surprise. I'm quite surprised myself actually. So nearly there. It sparks. Carbs are fitted. And as you can see, that's the what I'm trying to do on this side to make it all nice and neat. Is Super Dream style regulator rectifier. It's our modern rear master cylinder. I've still got to get the hoses made up yet. And that's it. So in the next video the bike will be finished. I've just got one more really hard job to do, and that's get the thing registered. The UK bureaucracy. We'll see how that one goes. Okay, I've just been out on it for its first run. It's essentially finished now. There's a few little pieces I've got to do. The rear engine mounting bracket that lines up with the side panel here didn't line up properly, so I've got to get that, well, I've cut it and it just wants re-welding, and that's that done. The engine seems really sweet. I need to balance the carbs, but it pulls well enough. Like I said, I think I'm very pleased with the way it looks. It keeps another old Z on the road. The total restoration came in at the price I was hoping it would, which was basically I spent £3,500 on top of the original bike. I picked up the bike from California for £1,000, so £4,500 in total, which is not bad. I just need to register it now. Which is obviously something I haven't done before on the new system, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. The Z1B build will be on the way. I'm hoping to get the wheels done next, and then we'll be starting some videos on that one. Hope you enjoyed the video.